Hey guys, this is Vartika Arora from GNU Linux Users Group NIT Durgapur. And today I'll be giving you a brief introduction to GitHub. This tutorial video will basically consist of a brief introduction on GitHub, why we should use GitHub, the features of GitHub, advantages of GitHub, and I'll also be telling you about the GitHub Students Pack. Now before we get started, I would like to clear one misconception once and for all. One of the main misconceptions about GitHub is that it's a development tool as much a part of coding as computer languages and compilers. However, GitHub itself isn't much more than a social network like Facebook or Instagram. You can build a profile, upload projects to share and connect with others users by following their accounts. And while many users store programs and code projects, there's nothing really preventing you from keeping text documents or other type of files in your project folders to show off. What is GitHub? GitHub is basically a web-based Git or version control repository and internet hosting service. So GitHub, the word comes from two words. The Git in GitHub comes from Git, an open source version control system started by Linus Torvalds, the guy that also created Linux. Now, Git is basically a version control system, and in order to know more about version control systems, please refer to our video on version control system. Now, the second part of the word is hub. Hub generally means a collection. So, hub comes from the fact that GitHub is a collection of collaboration projects that are available for you to alter and learn from. GitHub is basically a platform to host your own open source projects and /or alter the projects or learn from the projects by the other developers. So GitHub is actually a collection of all the open source projects that are out there, and you can use those open source projects as per your will, whether you want to make changes to them, discover new things, or just read through them for your own creativity. Now, what exactly does open source mean? Open source refers to any program whose source code is made available for use or modification as users or other developers see fit. Open source software is usually developed as a public collaboration and made freely available. So this is how GitHub promotes learners to learn more about coding. Next, I'll be telling you a little bit about GitHub and Git itself. Since this is not a version control system tutorial, I will not be going into the details of Git, but I'll be giving you a general idea of what Git actually is. So, suppose you have a Microsoft Word document that you constantly need to edit, something like a student database that needs to be updated every time a new student is admitted or a current student leaves. So it's kind of hard to keep track of all the data. So similarly, when you have a development project like an app or a website that you commonly use with 3 other people who all need the access to edit the code for your project and keep track of the edits, Git comes into play. It keeps snapshots of every point in time in the project history, so you never have to lose it or overwrite it. As you can see, this is status of the document at different instances. The first list consists of the initial list, which has 4 students. Now that is the status or the snapshot of the list when 4 students are there. But after Hannah has left the school, the list has been modified and snapshotted to 3 students. This is how Git operates. And GitHub is basically a collection of all the open source projects that are hosted upon it using Git. Now I would like to tell you about the features of GitHub. The first and foremost, it makes it easy to contribute to your favorite repositories, and it helps you discover and learn more about the websites and apps that you love. Since the code is freely available for all the open source softwares and websites on GitHub, you have this excitement and this thrill of learning. You can look at the code, make changes and tweaks to it as you please, or even discover flaws and bugs and report it to the developers, thereby making it really interactive for you to learn from. Next comes Markdown. Markdown is a way to write formatted documents using nothing but a text editor and give it a web page effect. Now, this basically means that the text you see usually on Microsoft Word documents or text editors, it's quite plain and quite different from the text that is shown to us on a web page or displayed to us on a web page. So, this is basically a difference that is brought about by Markdown. It's Markdown that creates the fancy effect to the text which is displayed on web pages in general. Now, GitHub makes an addition to this as well, and GitHub uses GitHub flavored Markdown, which makes a few tweaks and a changes to the original Markdown. Next is gists. Now, since you're a beginner, you might not understand much of it or know much about it, but once you start learning the know-hows of GitHub, you will quite easily understand what gists are and how they make your lives easier. Gists make it easy to share and track changes to configuration files and simple scripts. They don't have features like issue trackers and wikis, but a variety of GitHub features make it a good tool. I'll be coming to issue trackers and wikis later in the video, but in simple words, gists are a great way to share your work. You can share single files, parts of files, or full applications just through gists. Next comes GitHub enables you to host and create static web pages for your own project by committing HTML pages to a separate repository like in any other repository. Now, please don't be thrown off by big words like repository. I will be coming to that. So, what this statement basically means is that GitHub allows you to make your own website or write the code for your own website and host it upon GitHub itself without having to go through the hassle of paying for companies or sites that can actually put up your website. You can easily host your website up on GitHub by using HTML pages, and using those pages, you can easily start blogging and give it a web presence that it wouldn't have otherwise. And this is one of the coolest features of GitHub.